you're going to be.
Thanks, Bernie. So from one wee man to another wee man. And you see the notes in my hand and you think, geez, we're going to be here for ages. You're not. It's just the memory isn't as good, which puts me in the vintage section as well. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody, and that especially the McPartlin family, members of the Vintage Club, and all the friends and neighbours of Tommy, and anyone that's here. You're all very welcome. I'm not a member of the committee, or I'm not a member of the Vintage Club, and as most of you know, I'm very shy, but I was still asked to open the proceedings here today. I was thinking the morning that's in it, it's a lovely morning, it's great to be here, and on another hand, it's not great to be here. We'd rather not be doing this, but we'll do it with the best we can, and I suppose the turnout here, it's a brilliant tribute to Tommy to see the crowd that has turned up today. I want to compliment Kathleen and Teresa and all the committee and the Vintage Club, of course, for their organisation. When they do something, they do it 100%. And maybe give them a round of applause. I spoke to Lily earlier, and I asked her, I suppose we're, 200 or 300 yards, we live apart, and Tommy would have called our house on several occasions, and I would have called up to Tommy's and Lily's. And the one time you didn't want to see Tommy, you'd get the phone call at 11 o'clock at night. Are you still up? And then we'd have to get up out of bed and say, we were, yeah. So Tommy would land, and maybe at 1 o'clock, Tommy would drift back home again. But there was a few stories, I asked Lily, was it all right to tell them? A few stories, funny stories that happened down through the years. And I'm just going to tell them, and I'll pass it on then to Kathleen and Bernie. I know one of them was Christmas a few years back. I always went up to Tommy and Lily's at Christmas Eve, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock. Stay till 11:30 about, but I was mowing the lawn around this time, or October, I think it was, before that Christmas, and the lawnmower broke down, and of course Tommy came down and finished the lawn for me. So I wanted to give him a few bob for doing it, and he got insulted, kind of. No way was he taking money, so it was left at that. But I went up on the following Christmas, and I had an envelope with me with 50 euros in it. So sat at the fire. I was here, fire was there, Tommy was there, and the girls and all was to my right. And I gave Tommy the envelope with the 50 euros in it, and he looked at it, and he threw it back at me. No way. And I threw it back at him, and he threw it back at me, and this went on. Anyhow, but eventually Tommy went out to, I think, put on the kettle or something, and I, when he was out, I took the 50 euros out of the envelope. And then I gave it back to him again when he came back in, and he threw it back at me. He thought the 50 was still in it. And I said, well, Tommy, if you don't want it and I don't want it, and I just threw it in the fire. Suddenly Tommy wanted the 50 euros. Tommy, you were there. Tommy went into the fire with the hand. I got the 50 euros out. And I think there might be a few children here. I'm not going to say what he called me when he opened it and seen there was nothing in it. But he got his own back, as he did. It was on April Fool's Day. And myself and Kathleen was at home, and around 10:30 in the morning, and the phone went on the landline, I think it was. Is Kathleen there? I said, she is. I'm moving cattle down past your house, but I'd want them to go over your lane. Would Kathleen go down and stand at the gate and make sure they go over towards Cornyan's? Anyone that knows the geography. And Kathleen said she would. And she went out to the garage, and she got a pair of Wellingtons, and she got a jacket, and she got a stick. And she went down to the end of the road, and I was looking down, and I was watching for the cattle to come. And I waited 5 minutes, and I waited 10 minutes, and we waited 15 minutes. And there was no sign of the cattle to come, and she was still below with the stick. And the next thing, the phone rang again. Is she still down there? I said, she is. Tell her it's April Fool's Day. I hadn't even realised it was April Fool's Day, but more than Tommy and the 50 euro notes, the language wasn't great, I think, when she met Tommy the last time. And the one I always think of is, Tommy used to always be on to us, two of us, to go to the dinner dance. It used to be always around November. And for some reason, we never went, and thank God we went to the last one, and we really enjoyed it. But we do a set dancing class on a Wednesday night here, and Tommy had come over at just an odd time, but coming near the dinner dance, Tommy would arrive a bit more, because he was trying to sell tickets. Well, he was trying to up the numbers for the dinner dance, and he said to me one Wednesday, he says, I'm going over tonight. I said, right, great. Would you do a set at the dinner dance? Would 80 do a dance at the dinner dance? And I said, sure, come over and we'll ask them tonight. So I knew what Tommy was up to. Tommy was trying to sell tickets. He was guaranteed 8 more at the dinner dance. So Tommy arrived in during it anyhow, and we stopped for a few minutes, and I said, Tommy now wants to say a few words. And I'm looking for 8 to do a set at the dinner dance in November, Sligo Park Hotel. And they all said, oh yeah, and Feeney was teaching us, and so, oh yeah, sure, we'll do it, and the idiot. And I said, Jesus, Tommy, I said, these ones here, they do anything for a free meal. So he says, there's no effing free meal, he says. But we all knew what Tommy, but anyhow, look, I could be here all day telling stories, but there were 3 of the ones, and I hope you don't mind me telling it, but it brings back memories. So at that, I'm just going to hand over to Kathy McTighe, member of the committee and very close friend, and worked with Tommy on the committee here for years. So give Kathy a round of applause.
Thanks, Seamus. Well, I just want to welcome you all here today. Thanks very much for coming, and especially the Vintage crowd, the Vintage Club, and everyone else that give their time up to come out here today. I just want to say a few words about Tommy. Tommy was involved with us here in the committee since 2009 until he died in 2019. He was a very active worker, and he did mostly everything here for us, and we miss him sorely. But anyway, I just want to thank a few people as well for all their help here today. And the committee would like to thank the Car Club members who came over last night to help and set up. Seamus Gallagher for all his hard work and sorting that beautiful plaque for Tommy. Now we have a plaque up in memory of Tommy. It's just inside the door. So we're going to unveil that when I'm finished here. Martin Collins for hanging the plaque in the perfect place. Seamus Gallagher for organising the plaque. And for everyone that wants to see it, it's just here at the front. The girls for helping with the tea, John Flynn for doing photographs, everyone who contributed food for the event today. And I hope you all enjoy the day. So, on that, I'll just thank you all again for coming. And Lily and family, have a lovely day and enjoy it.
Well done, Kathleen, one of Tommy's best friends there. Do you want to slip around the corner and unveil the plaque, Kathleen, or do you want to... We'll sit tight for a minute. Few events like the Connacht Club, and there's a good few of them here in fairness. Their weekend away is on this weekend. Some of the clubs that are here, we've the Breffni Club, we've the Connacht Club, we've the Erin Vintage Club from Enniskillen. There's clubs here from Roscommon, his good friends from North Louth and Board of British Clubs, and Ron has his own club in Blessington. Carlow Vintage Club. So that's a good spread around the country. So just after the unveiling, I would just remind you, COVID is still about, so just don't be getting too friendly with me. Huge thanks to the committee here in the schoolhouse. The place looks class, in fairness. Tommy did a lot of fundraising here and helped you with grants, but it's just when we swung up here last night, it was like new. It's class. And once we come up with this idea for a run, they insisted that all the food was complimentary, everything, so they wouldn't even let us buy tea bags. So everything here has been sponsored by the committee. just on sponsorship, there's wee goodie bags and things and that, and rally plates, stuff like that. So the sponsors of those things were Wesley Roulette, Audrey Keys, PJ Clancy, Stephen Faulkner, Ina Gregg, Frank Brady, John Cohn, Ian Pudney. He's at a wedding last night, but he's on his way. He's a slideshow running here. So it's very nice, some lovely pictures of Tommy and some lovely memories. So have a wee look at that before you go. It's running in the play shed that Tommy used to play with, playing. The marshals, I'd like to thank the marshals. You'll see them along the road, so I'm not going to name them. Eugene Kelly with his help with the plaque. John Flynn, who's going to make me look skinny with the camera, I hope. Deacon Corry Kelly is going to do the prayers in the graveyard. Father Tom Mannion couldn't be with us as he has a wedding, so he looked at the sandwiches here and he said the wedding looked better. So. But he was a good friend of Tommy's. I can't follow Seamus there, he's good crack. But Tommy was the driving force behind the club. I have a few notes here because I'm an awful ahead of me. But if he even smelled petrol at someone, he was pulling a form out of his pocket. And he'd have them nailed for 25 quid before they knew what they were at. An example of that, we were on a run in Donegal one day and Tommy stopped to go into a shop. I won't say what kind of a shop, but Lily sent him in. But anyway, next thing, we waited back because we didn't want to leave him behind. And next thing, he came out to the car and he ran with the form and came out and he nailed the poor shopkeeper for membership of a club that he has nothing to do with. So, and he had another, Frank McGowan was selling there. Frank, he was an off man for hounding people for membership, but he rang this man one day and your man started telling him about the wife leaving him. And the wife had left him and the wife cleaned him and took half of everything. And Tommy listened and told him it was awful and everything, and listened to him for about 10 minutes, and then he says, she'll be joining us anyway this year. And still got the 25 quid of him, so. The other thing he had a knack of doing, a few times in his company, people had no interest in cars at all. So for some reason he used to talk about butterflies. Now, I see most of the people here know the butterfly story, and you can talk about it later on, but he knocked, when I heard it first it was 20 minutes long, and when I heard it last it was about 35 minutes long. He could knock the crack out of it, and you couldn't, no matter how many times you heard it, you couldn't but smile at it. He was very dedicated to his work in the county council, as you know, and a special point he made was any vintage run was organised, we never went over a pothole. And even we'd one run one time, it was up Knocknasheelan and it was out of his area, and some of the lads at the meeting says, that's a fierce bad road. And Tommy says, don't worry about it. And by the time we went on the run, it was like a blanket. It was like a blanket. I'd say they were working on it for 2 weeks. But that's it. There was a time I used to really look forward to well, before Tommy's time, if a Leitrim County Council van pulled up outside, they were either going to tell me the water was going off, or they were looking for rates, or looking for something. But I used to look forward to Tommy pulling up at the office, except when he parked around the back. Because when he parked around the back, he was going to stay for about 2 hours. He was on company time. And he always used to rob a wee biro on the way in and out. But he was a great man. He managed to keep the council job going and run the vintage club at the same time, juggling phones in the van. But anyway, that's just touching on Tommy. Today's the day about Tommy, so you all have your own stories and you can all talk on them. Kevin is going to come up here and say a couple of words. He's mad to get up.
Cheers, Bernie. Not an easy job to get this, to be honest with you, because it's so humbling to be here today and see so many people. On behalf of Mum, Katrina, Sinead, Colin and the rest of the family, we're just so grateful to everyone that came here today. So many cars, so many neighbours, so many friends. It's hard to not shed a tear and turn into a big girl's blouse, to be honest with you. But you know, what can you do? There's members here from various vintage clubs. His own one, that was the Northwest Vintage and Heritage Club. There's Breffni, Connacht. There's people from all over the country, all next to the woods, and they're very welcome here to where Dad called home and where we called home. And this little school is where Dad, I think he was around 12 when he stopped going to school, but he always spoke about it and all the people that he met and all the friends he made, and still meant a lot to him in his later years. And to all the committee members here and the people who look after this place. I know Dad was in tight with you all, and he helped you so much, and you helped him, and there was such a social event around anything that Dad done, everything he was involved in. He was, I suppose, a bit of crack. I suppose be different ways to describe him. Likeable rogue, a gangster. He'd be a pure trickster. I kind of find myself falling into the same thing at work. He'd be messing, he'd be pulling stunts on fellas, and as they say, tying shoelaces tighter than they should be and things when lads are trying to change their shoes and different things like that. And I always think to myself, I'm cursed or blessed with big feet, and Dad used to always take a good laugh at me in the big Wellingtons, because it's very easy to lose a shoe around here, especially on Dad's land, because you wouldn't have it drained anyway. But I used to laugh and say that I was blessed with the big feet because it stopped me sinking into the ground. But unfortunately, no more than himself, I have a good appetite, and that works to your disadvantage. No matter how big the feet are here, you're still going to sink. And so it's like anything else. All you can do is enjoy life, and that's what Dad done, and he enjoyed it right up to the very end. And just to close again, I hope there isn't anyone not going around betting how many times I'll say thanks, but just thanks to everyone, the person who mowed the lawn, pulled the weeds, painted the grass, painted the gates, everything. You know, this didn't spontaneously happen overnight. There's a lot of dedication, effort, work, and people's efforts to come here. Those cars didn't start this morning. They're all washed, they're all immaculate. There's people from the four corners of the country here. You're so welcome here, and it's so much appreciated. And it's a privilege to be here and to witness it. Thank you all.
Well done, Kevin. No, not an easy thing to do there. He said he was just going to say thanks now, but he's a bit like the owl fella. He got going, he kept going. Look, you all have great memories of a great man, and today is a day to share stories on that. So that's what it's about. Never mind looking at cars and things. We'll talk about Tommy. We're going to hit the road soon. We're going to be in the graveyard at 1 o'clock. There's time to grab a quick cup of tea for anyone that hadn't got one. I know I hunted some of you out there, but as Tommy himself should say, sure, that'll do.